Hi, here's a quick review of how things have been going this week in my maths group with Year 6. Got to say, I'm really enjoying working with the children. They're really working hard and it really is the highlight of my day. Thank you for fabulous effort with last week's mean, median, mode homework. I was worried it was going to be too hard, but the children really rose to the challenge, and thank you for all the support that you've given them. I loved getting feedback from parents like this one here. Really helps me understand whether I'm pitching things correctly, how things are going at home, and if more people could do that, I'd be really grateful. Also, really pleased to get feedback, positive or negative, just letting me know whether or not the homework was really appropriate. Looking at some of the homework from last week, they were really working at a high level. These sorts of questions were definitely level 5 questions, and they certainly weren't getting things like this correct when they did their first assessments. Here we see a lovely example of children working through a multi-stage problem. So this extreme reading question, they had to do so many different stages to come to the conclusion that they'd need 105% to win, and that wasn't possible. If they can work consistently at that sort of level, that definitely is what we'd call level 5. And this question here about the mystery 4 numbers, doing really well to answer those sorts of questions. And again, only 1 out of 15 got that correct in a SAT paper we did a couple of weeks ago, but almost all of them seem to be understanding that sort of problem now. This question was really quite tricky, finding the median from a mystery 4th number, and this was a brilliantly set out answer with a very clear explanation. This week in maths, a lot of the time we've been looking at very basic equations and missing numbers. One of these in this list is incorrect. On this example, they haven't made both sides balance, and really that needed to be a 1 if they were going to put 8 times 15 on the other side. But a lot of the time the children have been looking for factors. So for this one, there were 3 missing numbers. If they're starting off with a factor of 120, which might have been 4, and then they can work out they needed 30 lots of 4 to make that 120. The children also need to be understanding about inverse. On this particular question here, he hasn't laid it out in a way that you can see, but he needed to realise that if he thought about the 5 going on the other side and being multiplication, 200 times 5, that helped this child get the answer of 1000 there. Some other work we've done this week was around Venn diagrams, and this group worked well. Just one mistake here, 8 times 9 is 72, which we picked them up on. But apart from that, that was absolutely fantastic work, and all the children did a nice big Venn diagram like that. This week's homework, again, it's very old school. I've done it by hand because it was easier to do than doing it on a computer. Please do give me a comment there about how the children have done. If the children write what time they started, what time they finished, and let them work out the minutes taken, that sort of time duration problem is something they all need to be able to do. And again, could you let me know whether it's an appropriate homework or not in terms of pitch for your child? The first 2 sheets are basic missing number calculations. If you look at number 1, you need to be thinking of a factor of 200. So it could, for example, a factor of 200 could be 50, so you could squeeze 50 in there. How many 50s would you need for 200? Well, you need 4, so it could be 2 times 2 gives you the 4 times the 50 is 200. Okay, and so on. Where they come up with something that has brackets, they need to do the brackets first, which will help them do the rest of the calculation. Make sure that both sides of the equation are equal and balanced. In class, we haven't done these sorts of missing numbers questions. They've got to find out what number must be in this position here, and so on. For some of them, this one for example, they can simply do the inverse with 184 and 178 would help them get that. Otherwise, they might need to write the calculation down and work their way through it. And finally, the children have some work to do of their own, putting numbers in that are factors and even, and on this Venn diagram, seeing if they can find any to go into the central set where the number is in each of the 3 sets, and hopefully they can try and find at least one number to go in each section. If it isn't possible, then to find a number to go into section, then they need to think about and explain why. And that's it for this week. Keep up the good work, and I've also sent home their folders with their books and their SATS papers, and if you could have a look at those books before we meet next week, then we can make best use of the 10 minutes we're going to have together. I look forward to seeing everybody at Parents' Evening on Tuesday or Wednesday. Thanks very much.